In this lesson, we will talk about a topic that has become more and more interesting, and that is gamification. We'll start with a brief definition. We'll see some relevant figures related to the gamification. We will see our approach of using gamification, and in the end, we'll see where to publish gamification. We will start with the definition. It's a simple definition about what gamification really is. Gamification represents the use of elements typical for games in non-playful environments. We take elements characteristic of games, but we use them in different environments. What's the purpose of this? First of all, it has been proven that these elements really work. And the elements of game help us motivate participants, and they also help us increase what is called engagement or involvement of the users. We have to say that gamification has many elements. The purpose of this lesson is much simpler. We will focus on the most important ones, which include points, levels, badges, rankings, and awards. Those are the most popular elements, but gamification has many other aspects that will not be addressed in this video. Let's look at some relevant figures about gamification. The figures are from the book called Reality is Broken. First of all, in the US alone, there are 183 million active game players. The average game player is 35, and 1 in 5 players is over 50. That's important because we should not associate games and gamification with kids. People of all ages are interested and often actively participate in games. From this book, we also find out that 70% of largest companies in the world intend to have an application with gamification before 2014. Additionally, it is estimated that the gamification market will exceed $5 billion by the end of 2018. It has been shown that gamification can increase level of user engagement by 100% or even up to 150%, including the number of pages viewed, the time the users spend on the website, etc. We will now focus on approach. First of all, for the approach we are using gamification in a simplified form. We're doing a simplified model. This model has the following advantages. The model can be immediately applied, and in case you're using high social, you can apply gamification in 5 minutes. Additionally, costs are very limited because what we propose here is very affordable solution. In the end, the proposal is limited to online environments. The simplified version of gamification has these advantages, but there are also some disadvantages. First of all, this simplified form is a universal solution, but companies sometimes want a more custom solution tailored to their needs. We will not cover this in our approach. In addition, we are only limited to online environment. Gamification is often applied in offline environments in the real world, but the approach we suggest will not work in those conditions. Therefore, you must take into consideration that what we suggest here is a simplified form with both advantages and disadvantages. There are 2 main fields where gamification can be applied. The first is online marketing environment, which usually entails gamification on a website to attract the attention of the users and to increase engagement. But gamification is also used by companies, especially by large companies that have a lot of employees. In this sense, the gamification is used to improve the engagement of the employees. Now we'll see how to proceed with this proposal. First, we have to define goals. The goals will mainly depend on your specific needs. What do you want to achieve? Whether you want to increase engagement, improve your presence on social networks, increase the number of visits on your website, get feedback, etc. The first step, defining the goals, is essential because those are the basis of your work. Once you have selected the goals, you will choose the action based on those goals. For example, if your goal is to enhance your presence on social networks, you should choose an action where users will follow you on Twitter or like your page on Facebook. If your goal is to spread your content, you have to encourage users to share a specific URL on social networks. If your goal is to retain users, choose actions that encourage users to visit your website or Facebook page every day. The third step is where you should define what we call points, levels, and badges. Each action should be awarded with a certain number of points, so the users can collect points based on the actions they perform. Then we have levels. Once the user collects a certain amount of points, they should be allowed to achieve a certain level. The badges will be rewards for the users who perform a set of actions of a certain type. For example, those who follow you on social networks will get social follower badge. Then we have the fourth step, where we will discuss intrinsic motivation. Basically, there are two types of motivation: intrinsic, part of self-satisfaction of the users without having to give them anything in return, and we have extrinsic motivation. While focusing on intrinsic motivation, we will use rankings to motivate the users within our website or Facebook page. We will classify users in a ranking depending on points, levels, or badges they have earned. So the user is somehow motivated to appear at the top of this list, which is why we focus on what we call intrinsic motivation in this case. We can also use extrinsic motivation, which is about giving something to the users who perform a certain action we instruct them. In this case, we're using rewards and benefits for the users who access a certain level or achieve certain badges. Let's explain this in a simple example. Imagine you have a nightclub. Your goal is to improve your online presence, and you already have a website and a Facebook page, and you will use the approach we have explained here in order to increase engagement. For example, users who follow you on Twitter or Facebook will get a certain amount of points. As the user collects a certain amount of points, they will access the levels and they will collect badges. Classify the users based on rankings, and those users who collect a certain amount of points, for example 100 points, they will get a free entry to the club, or they will get VIP card with certain advantages, or you can award them with some exclusive material, etc. The award and the advantages the user get would be based on the conditions you have previously defined. In addition, you don't have to directly give awards, but instead you can organize a sweepstake or some type of promotion for the users who have already acquired a VIP card or who have achieved a certain level. In the end, we will see where to publish gamification. The first place is, of course, your website. If you're using HiSocial, you will have a special page where you will develop all actions and all of the mechanics of the gamification. It can also be used in intranet with restricted access. For example, if you have an intranet which is available only to the employees, you can also use gamification in order to increase engagement of your employees. In the end, you can also publish on a Facebook page. Many brands nowadays complain that they have a lot of Facebook fans, but they are not able to spread the message on the page, as posting is more restrictive on Facebook. It is said that the message we publish reach only between 5 and 10% of our fans, so it is often difficult to get in touch with fans through a Facebook page. Using gamification can increase engagement and increase the number of visits on your Facebook page, thus making it more popular. All of these were general information about gamification. In the next lesson, we will discuss how to apply gamification with HiSocial. We will immediately see how to gamify your website or your Facebook page within 5 or 10 minutes using all of the elements we have seen in this lesson. Thank you for your attention.